is the foundation inspection. We're actually at the rear of the foundation at the moment, and what we're looking at here is a downpipe. And you can see there's a dip in the ground. I'll put my boot in it just to see it. About 2 inches. That's caused by the water coming out here and eroding it, and it's going to actually cause quite a bit of a problem to the area here in terms of water content on the foundation. It's easily solved. You can put an extension on here and run it out. In fact, looks like, no, that wasn't a new section. Somebody's replaced the, yeah, it's a new section of downpipe. But if you just run it out to the fence, put an extension on it, you'll stop that erosion and also stop damaging the or possibly damaging the foundation in this area. We're now at the right elevation of the property. We're still looking at the foundation. Now here you can see the grade has actually built up and it's touching the wall, and that's not a good thing because that's going to allow water to get through the walls and possibly cause mold issues and things like that. The grade should never be that high. All the way along here, just looking in this area here, the grade is too high. This is an ethos finish, and as such it will allow water to go through, although there are barriers in there to stop it going right the way through, but there is a chance that it will cause build up of moisture in the walls and therefore give rise to possible mold and issues like that. So the grade needs to be lowered all the way along here. Now here the bushes are just too close to the building. What you need to do is you need to cut these bushes back so there's about a 6 to 10, maybe a foot gap between the bushes, okay, the bushes here, and the wall. The reason you're doing that is you don't want insects and vermin and stuff like that getting onto the building, which they can do using the bushes. So it's very easy, just cut it back, and it won't harm the bushes, they'll grow back. And then you'll have a clear gap between your building and the bushes, and that will stop the vermin getting on. Here the actual grade is okay. It's got about 4 inches clearance before the wall line, which is good. We're at the front right elevation. Again, now this is even worse here. This really has got to be cut back. So you cut the bushes right back, cut them back hard. Give yourself about 6 to 10, 12 inches of space. Now this is the grade inspection. What we're looking for is good drainage, and the drainage here comes down this path and out, which is good, and the drainage to the rear of the building is here. And you can see that it starts to slope away. We have a French drain, and let's have a quick look, see whether it's effective. Yep, it goes in both directions, so it's going in that direction and it's going in that direction. That should drain the yard perfectly. Okay, now I'd like to see a termination for the drain. Should be at the street. Yeah. Okay, this is the termination for the drain. This thing pops up when the water comes through and it drains harmlessly out onto the street. So drainage on the right hand side of the property is good, in great condition. This is the roof inspection. You can see here that the gutters are full of the grit that comes off the shingles, and it started to pull the gutter away, and it's damaging the roof in that area there. Now this is a problem, and this is where the problem lies. These walls beneath us are porous. Water will come over the top of that gutter and onto that wall and then get into the building, and it could cause a mould issue. So you need to get that gutter. It's essential that gutter is fixed. Can't be left like that. It's very poor. I'm on the ladder, and what we're looking at is the flashing. Here's the flashing here. Okay. There's some counter flashing here, and there's a hole. Can you see that hole there? Now there's a possibility of water ingress back through there. I know it seems impossible. Hey, this is a roof, it's sloping. Yeah, well, it doesn't work that way. Water can come around here and it can get sucked back into that hole. That hole needs to be closed completely. You can see this side, it's completely closed. There's no way water could get in. But here, water could get in. Now it's simply solved. It needs basically some caulking put into this area, silicone caulk, sealing that hole, fixes it, and then there's no possibility of water getting in. In addition to doing that, which is great, I want to see that filled, that hole, these nail heads here, they need to be actually covered with a silicone caulk to prevent them rusting out in the future. If they rust out, and you can see all along here the counter flashing, if they rust out, that can allow water to get into the actual building itself. I'm now on the roof, and we're looking at the conditions of the flashing. Now here you can see the actual siding is damaged and needs to be resealed. That's right on the top of the roof, the gable end. There's where I come down. There's my ladder and my truck down there, and we come up and go round the corner. You can't see it from the street. Around the corner, we've got that damage there. That needs to be fixed. We're now at the apex. We're looking at the chimney. That's fine. It's got the flashing coming down the side here, all's good there. And we have a chimney cap, which is good. Then we're looking at the roof at the right elevation, that's in good order. There's no shingles missing. And then down the roof to the other order. Now we're going to look at the rear elevation of the roof, and at the rear elevation we have a vent there. That vent is leaking, and that vent down there is leaking. Yeah, it's in really bad condition. They've both got to be replaced. The problem is, left as they are at the moment, water is going to be getting into the attic, large quantities of water. That really must be fixed ASAP. Now we're at the rear elevation. I'm looking back up the roof, and what we've got is some distortion in the roof itself. You can see there's a wave here. It's coming around this area here. This is the dividing line, I think, between the two houses, and I think the roof on this side has sunk slightly, and on that side, and the actual area here is going to be quite reinforced. There's going to be a wooden wall in there protecting it, and so I think that is causing this roof here to distort, but there is a distinct distortion in the roof at the rear elevation. At some time in the past, I think there's been a water leak in this area inside, and out here there's been some caulking carried out along this edge here, and that's the edge between the ephes and the roof. The problem is caulking's not appropriate to use in that area because it will fail in time and it itself will lead to a roof leak. And you can see there's a lot of actual caulking carrying on here. So at some point there's been a roof leak in this area. In addition, you can see at this window, we're at the window, and you can see here the wall has a crack in it in two places, and there's evidence of previous work in this area here. So I think there's been issues with roof leaks in this particular area at some point in the past. You might like to ask the sellers about that. Here we're looking at the flashing, and you can see there that that's been caulked. I'm standing beside the chimney at the right elevation on the roof, and in this area here you can see we've got some caulking where the roof has been damaged, and there's caulking here. Again, the roof has been damaged here and here, and somebody's come up to caulk it, and there's more there. I think you should investigate the possibility of roof leaks in this area. There's too much remedial work being carried on in this area for my peace of mind. You should check into this. What we're looking at here is a ventilator. It's ventilating the roof, and I'm a little concerned because this roof is not, this attic is not accessible. When you go inside, you've got very high ceilings, cathedral type ceilings with no access to what is the attic space. And that looks like it's the only possible ventilation for the whole of this attic area here. And you can see it similarly the case on the houses the other side. But what I'm concerned about, if you look here, you can see that two attic vents have been added. They're turbine attic vents, wind turbines, and they're running at the moment. They're ventilating the attic. And this attic, to my mind, doesn't have adequate ventilation. Now, why would I be concerned about that? Well, the reason I'd be concerned about it is that this is Texas. It gets very, very, very hot in summer. This roof will reach a temperature of 140, and inside that attic it's very hot, and the only way that we can cool the attic is through ventilation. And at the moment I'm not seeing enough ventilation, so I'm a little concerned about the whole attic. Now, having noticed that there's not a lot of ventilation, now I can actually have an opinion about the distortion in the roof here. It may not be because of inadequate ventilation, it's distorting the roof rafters. That's one of the things that happens when you've got poor ventilation in an attic. Now, one of the most important things in attics is ventilation. It's sort of ignored and people don't really talk about it. I mean, after all, what's interesting about ventilation? Nothing. The problem is this property doesn't have ventilation to the attic. You can see these are the soffits running here. And these soffits should have vents in them. That allows air to flow into the attic and then out of the exhaust vents on the roof, and there are none. Okay, we've got some soffit vents here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 soffit vents. The attic steps here, there is no weather seal around the attic steps. There should be. The reason we want an attic seal is the same reason we have an attic seal, or we have a door seal on the door to the garage. This door here, it's very heavy. You'll note if you just move it how heavy it is. It's a fire door. It prevents fire coming into the building. And the plasterboard or the sheetrock that's used inside the garage, there's a particular type that's used to retard fire. Therefore, the only access for fire, should one occur in this garage, is going to be via this door here. Now, to prevent that is to put a weather seal around it that stops the draft going up into it and will delay fire getting into the building, allowing people to get out. This is the attic inspection. What we're looking at here is a vent to the bathroom below, and that should go to the attic, to an attic vent. It should be taken to the roof level here. As it is at the moment, it's expelling damp air into the attic. That's not a good thing. You don't want to put damp air into the attic, as it can lead to mold and other issues like that. I'm in the attic and we are looking at the vent pipe, which we looked at earlier with the failing flashing. There's clear water signs running down it, so there's been a lot of water penetration here. Yeah, there's a lot of staining on the areas here, and the it's been pouring in. In fact, there are bird droppings on the ducting. So this has been a water leak for a long while into this particular area. Now, in addition to that, we're looking at the decking running down the back of the building, where I noticed there was deflection in the decking. I can't see anything that's particularly problematic inside. So it could just be a poor construction practice. You know, they just don't get everything right. It's called rough carpentry, this. That's a good term for it. And as such, it can lead to distortion in the decking. And here, what you can see here is a vent. It's a vent to the dryer. I'll go and check it. It doesn't go out, it just goes to the roof here. Originally it would have gone to a vent in the roof, but it's been taken away, and that's really bad. This place is going to be full of moisture. If you look in your attic, you'll find that an area here is covered in sheetrock, and I'm not quite sure what's going on. The whole idea of sheetrock between the two properties is to prevent fire. Yet there are holes and gaps in the sheetrock, and therefore it's not going to prevent fire getting between the two walls. This is a wall inspection, wall and windows around the house. What we're looking for is the if there are any deficiencies in the wall surface, structure, etc, etc. There's some settlement in the building here. You can see a crack here, it's been caulked, and there's another crack appearing. Not uncommon, buildings in this part of the world move all the time. There's been some previous repair work to this window around here. I would assume because it was a leak, because these ethos structures normally have flashing that prevents leaking, so there's a previous repair there. The electrical panel cannot be secured completely because the screw here doesn't actually go into the screw hole. It just falls straight out. There's no grip on it, so that needs to be repaired. I'm in the garage and we've got a GFCI here, outlet, and I've tripped it at the wall. I tripped it using this device and it will not reset. In addition to that, the exterior outlets, which should be GFCI protected, are not. They're not tripping. In fact, there is an electrical fault somewhere on this GFCI circuit, because when I was looking and checking the outside circuitry, I was getting a really odd reading on the instrument here. It was not quite connecting. The amber light here was quivering. That indicates we have a problem with the electrical circuitry for the external garage outlets. I'm in the guest bathroom, and you can see here we have an outlet. This outlet is not working. It's connected to the GFCI in the garage, and that will not reset. And I'm getting to the bottom of it, because if you look here, a little bit of detection work, you can see that we have smoke damage. This outlet is overheated, and as a result there's probably damage to the wires behind here and damage to the electrical circuitry. There's damage to the, or smoke damage to the outlet in the master bathroom. I'll put this in, we've got no circuit because I tripped it and it will not reset, and you can see here we got smoke damage. I can actually rub it off. That means that that outlet has been overheating over a long time, and I would say the circuitry here is dangerous. I'm in the master bedroom, and you can see here that we have an outlet, and again we have smoke damage on it. It's been overheating. I recommend that a licensed electrician checks out the circuitry. What probably has happened is that devices have been put in that have overloaded it, and over time, you know, it gets this sort of damage from the heating. But it's not a good sign, and it's something that could lead to a fire in the future, so I highly recommend that it's checked. Hopefully the electrician, when checking it, will find no real problems, but it has to be checked. There's excessive water pressure to the house. We've got a reading here of 100 pounds per square inch, and it should not exceed 80. So that is a considerable overshoot. That can lead to damage to the pipework internally, and it can damage equipment like dishwashers and fridges and freezers, anything that's connected in any way to the electrical circuitry. In addition to that, the faucet, or the hose bib, which is located at the front right elevation of the building, is leaking. There's quite a drip coming from it, and it's been leaking for some time because I took the protective cover off of it, and you can see it laying there, and that was wet, soaking. So that needs to be replaced, and the pressure needs to be reduced to between 40 and 80 pounds per square inch. This is the functional flow test. We're running the water into the tub at the moment, and we're also running a shower, and there's sufficient water coming through the shower head to take a shower and on the tub, so it passes the functional flow test. There's insufficient functional flow at the kitchen sink. I'll turn the faucet on. This is the dryer connector. You can see, or the washer dryer hookup in the wall here. It's only got a 3-pronged outlet. Modern equipment these days comes with 4, so you've got to be careful where you buy your equipment, or if you've only got a 4-pronged, you're going to have to change it. This is the water heater. We have a problem with it. It is not mounted 18 inches above the ground, which it should be. It's in a garage, and the garage can get fumes, gasoline fumes, and those gasoline fumes, if they got into here and there was a spark, could cause an explosion. So it must be raised 18 inches above the garage floor. It's a safety issue, and we don't mess with safety. This is a temperature pressure relief valve outlet. It's installed incorrectly. It should have a gap of 6 inches between its outlet and the ground, and it doesn't.